Okay, so the real estate scene in Hillcrest, it's always moving.
Yeah.
But there's one development really standing out right now. Aviva Emberton.
Absolutely. We've been digging into the details on this one, and yeah, it presents some pretty interesting angles for potential investors.
Exactly. So for you listening, what we want to do today is like really unpack what makes Aviva Emberton a possible opportunity. We've got info on, the cost to get in, growth prospects, income potential.
The developer's reliability, how it fits modern living needs, all that stuff.
Right. So let's kick off with the money side. Affordability.
Yeah.
What makes this one accessible?
Well, the big headline grabber is no transfer duty. Now, if you've bought property before, you know transfer duty is that government tax.
Yeah, it can be a hefty sum.
It really can.
Yeah.
So not having to pay that up front, that's a significant saving right off the bat.
It's definitely not small change. We're talking potentially thousands, maybe tens of thousands saved depending on the price.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the deposit, just 5,000 Rand.
Mm-hmm. 5,000, which feels, much less daunting for people trying to get a foot in the door.
The source material even calls it an affordable gateway to property ownership. And, well, you can see why that phrase rings true with those numbers.
Precisely. If those big initial costs have felt like a barrier for you, this combination, no transfer duty, low deposit, it really does change the calculation, makes that first step seem, well, more doable.
Okay, so getting in seems manageable. But what about the bigger picture, the location, the long-term potential? Where is this exactly?
So the info we have consistently points to Hillcrest being a prime location, a sought-after area.
Right, those aren't just marketing terms usually. Established areas like that often mean more stable values over time, don't they?
Generally, yes. There's built-in demand. And the material specifically talks about expecting capital growth as the Aviva Emberton project actually gets built.
The classic scenario value potentially rising as it goes from plan to completed homes in a good neighborhood.
And what's interesting is the focus on solid long-term capital appreciation. Because Hillcrest is already established, it's less about maybe quick flips and more about steady growth.
Dependable increase over the long haul.
Yeah, it connects to that broader investment thinking, A desirable location often gives you a stronger foundation, so it prompts a good question for you listening. Are you aiming for fast potential gains or more steady long-term value growth?
That's a really key question to ask yourself. Okay, now let's shift gears. For investors looking at income, not just appreciation rental yields, what's the story there?
The figures mention impressive gross rental yields of up to 9.14% per annum.
Wow, 9.14%.
Yeah.
That definitely catches the eye.
It does. For context, similar areas might average more like, 5 to 7% maybe?
Right. So for anyone less familiar, rental yield is basically your annual rent income as a slice of the property's value. And over 9% sounds quite healthy.
Exactly. And the source links this directly back to the high demand for rental properties in Hillcrest.
Makes sense. Good area, new properties, attracts tenants.
Which supports the rental income. So yeah, the information frames it as a lucrative opportunity if you're looking for a reliable income stream.
Okay, so the numbers look potentially good, location strong, but who's building this? The developer's reputation matters, right? A lot.
Absolutely crucial. The name that comes up is Collins Residential, described as a trusted name in real estate.
They have a proven track record. They've built quality stuff before.
That's what the information highlights, delivering high-quality projects. That history is really important. It suggests they, know what they're doing.
Right, it's not just a glossy brochure. They've actually done it. The info says investing with them gives peace of mind. That counts for a lot when you're putting down serious money.
It really does. Knowing it's backed by years of industry experience, expertise, and a commitment to delivering excellence, like the source says, that definitely adds a layer of security. Reduces some of that what-if feeling.
Okay, good point. Now, thinking about the actual living experience, sustainability, eco-friendliness, that's becoming more and more important to people. Does Aviva Emberton address that?
Yeah, it seems to be a focus. The information mentions eco-friendly solutions being integrated from the start, so not an afterthought.
Part of the plan from day one.
Exactly. They talk about energy-efficient features and sustainable construction methods. It would be great to know the specifics,
Like solar, or better insulation, water saving.
Yeah, precisely. Knowing those details would paint a clear picture of the benefits, but the intention is there.
And those benefits for residents could be real, couldn't they? Lower running costs, maybe, more comfortable home. Plus, it just makes the property more attractive long term.
Definitely. The demand for eco-conscious living spaces isn't going away, so building this way is smart, not just responsible. It could really hold its value better.
It's forward thinking. Okay, one last practical aspect.
Yeah,
Maintenance. Nobody loves surprise repair bills.
right. And being new builds, the idea is they're designed to be low maintenance.
Less hassle from the get-go.
And they mention guarantees on all fittings and finishes. That's reassuring too, protects you from unexpected costs early on.
So, less weekend DIY, potentially fewer calls to the plumber in those first few years. The source calls it hassle-free living. It's pretty good.
It does. Ideal if you want something move-in ready without a big to-do list.
All right, let's try and pull this all together. We've covered quite a bit about Aviva Emberton from the sources we have. Key takeaways for someone considering it.
Okay, summarizing based on this info,
Uh,
you've got the easier entry point with no transfer duty and that low deposit. Then there's the potential for solid, long-term growth in Hillcrest, a prime spot. Add to that attractive rental yield potential.
Plus the backing of a known developer, Collins Residential.
Right, and the focus on modern, sustainable design, plus the low maintenance aspect. It seems to cover a lot of bases.
Yeah, the info we looked at basically concludes that if you're seeking a smart and rewarding property investment, Aviva Emberton, quote, ticks all the boxes. Seems to line up with what investors often look for.
It appears so, and maybe the thought to leave you with is this: looking beyond just the price tag, how do all these elements we discussed, the specific location, the developer's history, the modern features, the sustainability focus, how do they all weave together to create real, lasting value and desirability in a property investment? Something to really mull over.